Welcome back, guys, to the This and Much More podcast. I'm Evelyn, and my handsome co-host is
Rollie Vogues.
And our special guest today is
Jerry Franco.
Jerry Franco.
Yo, welcome to the podcast, bro.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, no, of course. Thank you.
For a second, we thought you weren't gonna make it.
No. Yeah. I definitely put it on the calendar, so I was like, I'm gonna make it.
That's
I was
good.
like, damn, he hasn't texted back. But I mean, and I told her, I'm like, he's probably just still gonna show up anyway. Like, you know.
Of course. I told you I was gonna make it. I was gonna be here. So
That's good.
I'm gonna make things happen.
Well, as by the time this episode drops, y'all are probably gonna have already seen his sister Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
It was dropped last Monday, and obviously they're siblings. So
Yeah, and then they have like same businesses and stuff, or different, but we're about to get into that. So pretty much, bro, like, what is it that you do? What do you have going on for yourself right now?
Yeah. So I mean, the main thing is brand exposure.
Yeah.
So that's like the biggest one that I have at the moment. And of course, I have different things that are, being developed, and we're still working on a couple of things. But we do have dog wash, we have electric neon signs, and yeah, I mean those are pretty new. But brand exposure is definitely like the biggest.
So
one.
what is brand exposure?
So brand exposure is still just a custom apparel company.
Oh, okay.
So we still do uniforms for corporate offices, different brands, businesses. And anyone that needs our service at the end of the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what where you and your sister share the facility, right?
Right. So we both are, investing on the machinery. So any of the machinery that we have there is always half and half. We provide anything new that we need, or the new investments that we need in order to make, things just to flow easier in the business. We always come together and we say, hey, we need this or we need that. And we come and we make the investment.
Okay.
Nice.
And so do you feel like now have you always been focused on big companies like to do clothes for, or was it always like everything?
So I think the question is more like, how did it start, right? So Apparel Up started when I was around 18, and it was a friend of mine that was actually doing it, and he told me to come by and to help him basically just sell. And so what I ended up doing was he was doing all the labor. He was like, hey Jerry, I know that you're in high school and we know that you know a lot of people, and he was like, just come on and help me just find some clients. So I was like, okay, cool. So that's how it kind of started off. Was he had the idea, then I came in and saw the structure of the business. However, in the beginning of early stages of like the company, there was a lot of mistakes that happened. We were learning. At the end of the day, it wasn't given to us. And okay, can I ask you one thing? How did what did my sister say about that?
Okay. So
Yeah.
she pretty much said, I think what she did mention how when I was working there, like I would hear y'all like bickering back and forth, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then it got to a point where y'all were like, you know what, let's just split our stuff. But then again, like it wasn't like bad blood or nothing like that, but y'all ended up being like, let's just use the same stuff, the companies, the machinery and all that, and then we'll just start our own companies, whatever,
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that pretty much you had brand exposure, she has Apparel Up, but y'all use the same machines.
Right.
Like
Okay.
He's thinking really hard not to
Yeah.
bash on his sister.
Well,
No.
it's not about bashing, right? It's just like, I mean, I just don't know what they're like. What she said would, so it's like, I don't know. It's
And
kinda,
so what
Let-
she said, what he
she didn't like she didn't stop herself from saying anything though. Like she was pretty much open about the
Everything.
business, yeah. Because we asked her pretty like business heavy like questions too, like, or how does she market herself? How does stuff like that?
Yeah, like she told us about the time that she went to get how she gets her employees.
right?
She told us about that.
Yeah. So that was actually, man, that was crazy. That was crazy. So in the early stages, that's what I would do. But so the thing is that Jennifer and I, when we did start up like the company, which was Apparel Up, I mean, we did whatever it took. At the end of the day, we.
Because she did say you came up with the idea, that you came to her because she was in college, and that you're like, dude, I have this idea, and then she's like, okay, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah. So I mean, that's how it went. And so whenever Jennifer did come, I always knew that Jennifer knew a lot of people. Like, it was just a given. Like, she was always a social person, and I knew that she had value in that. She was like always, around people, and I just knew that she knew so many people. And so I was like, okay, I have an idea. And the most important thing about business is marketing. I mean, you can have the machinery of the year, you can have the top end or the high end stuff, and without marketing or a few in your business, I mean, it's nothing. So I knew the importance in that. And so Jennifer was always really good about that. She was always marketing and putting herself in front of others and really trying to get in the clients.
So let me ask you this then, like, because I working there, I saw both of y'all, how y'all were working and stuff. And then I feel like she was very, I guess, being the older sibling, she was already more like kind of ready for the business. And then I feel like you were more like just trying to get the money, like trying to get like these clients to get the business going. But she was kind of like, Jerry, you got to slow down. Like, let's do numbers. Let's do this. And you're just like, nah, like, I need to go, like.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry.
So pretty much my question is like, how would you say you grew now into the, like, you now versus you back then?
Yeah. So I think I really needed to like figure out, how to run a business by myself. I think that really taught me a lot of values, seeing where my sister took the business and seeing how, she structured certain things. I saw that, and I was like, okay, well, we gotta make some changes here and there, to get to that. And that's what I did. I mean, there was a lot of things in the beginning that, when we started Apparel Up, I know that you kind of heard some things here and there, but it was just because I was really young when I started business.
Yeah, she did say that.
know?
I mean, she said. I mean, obviously, you started like right out of high school, and she was like out of college. So
I was very young.
But low key though, like working there, I would think to myself like, damn, I'm older than these guys,
Yeah.
But then like at the same time, I was like, but I want something like this too. Like I want to be able to have a business and have employees and have like a whole thing, like.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so I think that stuck by my side too. I was like, I don't want to do this now. I know I'm out of high school, but the thing is, a lot of my friends in high school, when they were like getting their applications ready for college, they were getting their SAT scores, and they were all talking about college and stuff. And I just felt like I was the one kind of separate from that. Even my friends were like, "Yo, like, why aren't you at the SAT?" You're testing and getting your application ready for college. And I was just telling myself, I was like, why am I holding back from doing what I want to do? Than to go into college knowing that I'm not going to put 100% effort into it. Then my parents are going to be supporting, and obviously they're going to put in their money in for it. I was like, why not just do, what I want to do and give it 100%, right? But I told myself, when I make this like decision, I was going to say, I'm going to go full force. I'm going to work just as hard as them, but I'm just going to go a different path. That was the main thing. So right when, I got out of high school, I told myself, I was like, business is going to be it, and I'm going to figure it out. And looking back at it, I was going, so I started up a business which was called JF Finals, and it was a sign company. So putting decals on doors, putting decals on, businesses, designs and stuff in front of their windows to just, use it as advertisement. And I would go and basically go to established businesses that already had the sign company, and I would tell them, hey, I'm basically going to use your equipment, but I'm going to bring in the client, give me the price, and I am going to, mark it up, and I'm just going to get my own clients that way. So I kept building up my clientele like that, and I was going 19th Street, and, I would come with my little business card, and, I would plant the seed. I was just going knocking doors on doors and asking them if I could do anything. And I landed a couple of jobs like that. And that's when I really opened up my eyes, and I was like, okay, I can do this. Now, I started doing it, and I kept outsourcing my work that way. And, I got some clientele and some residual, every month that they wanted, new advertisement on their windows. And that's how I would, make some money. Mm-hmm. And we would save some money on the side. And I always told myself, like, I want to make this bigger, I want to go bigger. So then I came up with a new name that was called Signs Up Solutions. And that was really going to be like car wraps and, just different types of signage. And, but I also knew that there was a lot of upfront money that you needed for that. The machinery was really expensive at the time. I mean, to buy those type of machines, you needed a lot of capital. Yeah. And I was like, okay, we can keep going this route and outsourcing it. But I just ended up transitioning to that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go into the apparel, which was the t-shirt printing and the embroidery. And then I did the same thing. I went into different companies, and man, there was times where I would be in there until like 3 a.m. and
like doing the labor.
Yeah. So the thing is, I would go into a company, right? And I would ask them, I was like, hey, I have my own clients, but I don't have machinery to do these jobs. I was like, could you allow me after hours to hire your employee and for me to get my jobs out? And sure enough, I found a couple companies that were allowing me.
That's to do crazy. That. Like, I didn't think like any would be down.
So check this out. I would take care of the employees, and then they would work till like 3 or 4 a.m. We wouldn't leave, and I was there sleeping on a chair because I didn't know how to do the jobs. But I would pull out, I would pull out shirts or whatever you had to do in order to get the job done. At the end of the day, I did take someone's money to do this, so they're expecting it to get done. And the thing about customers is they don't care. At the end of the day, they just want their product, right? So my thing is, I would go in there and I would tell them, I was like, man, look, I know you just worked. And some of them will work for like 8 hours, 9 hours, some like crazy hours,
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was something about me that I would tell them. I was like, man, just trust me, like, I'm gonna bring more work. And I would just pitch them this story, like, we gotta get this. And because I always had the vision, I was like, I'm gonna find a way to make this happen. I'm gonna have my own shop. I will have my machines, and anything I ever told myself, I was gonna say, I wanted an automatic. I wanted the embroidery machines, and I just wanted to go big scale. I would always feed that into me. I would always tell myself, it's gonna happen, and it will happen. It was never a failure. It was just a matter of time. And so, yeah, I remember this one job that we had, and we were up till 4 a.m. to finish it. But the guy stayed there. And he helped me to this day. And I still have a good relationship with him. And we obviously. Well, I don't want to. Let me catch myself on that.
Okay.
But yeah. I mean, we still have good relationships with the people that helped us out in the beginning.
Whenever you were doing that, like when you were going to do your work, and you rented their facility, basically, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So whenever you were renting other businesses, facilities, was your sister involved, or this was just you by yourself?
This was me by myself.
Mm-hmm. And when you were still like fresh out of high school.
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this was really when I was learning what it was to screen print. I never touched a screen printer. I didn't know how to do any of the jobs. I didn't know how to do any of the labor. Mm-hmm. But I did know how to sell, and I knew that was the most important thing. So that's basically how I kind of started off. It was just a lot of outsourcing in the beginning. But one thing I found out with outsourcing, right, was that you don't have control. You don't have a lot of control over the things. And what I mean by that is you don't have control of the quality. You don't have control of the time. You're really putting a lot of things on risk by doing that. So I learned that we needed to bring it into house in order to make it work. And I mean, Rollie knows, I mean, in the beginning, you were working there. We didn't have an embroidery machine, but we had to make things work. But the vision was always to bring it into house, but it was going to take some momentum in order to get those things. So everything was pretty much planned out. It was like, okay, we're going to build up the clientele list and have someone that's already doing it. So that way we make sure that quality is up to standard. And then with that momentum, then we're going to figure out how to do it better. Yeah. And so
what made you go?
No, I was going to say, because I like how the conversation is going about you just implanting stuff in your head like that, like just being like, I'm gonna have these machines and all that stuff. That's pretty much speaking it into existence.
Of course.
And just having that mentality, and it kind of goes back to what Jennifer was talking about with because me and her went back and forth on Instagram about faking it till you make it. Did she tell you about it or no?
She told me a little bit about it.
And then so we talked about it on the podcast and how she would like like advertise like apparel up, like we're the best in Houston, we're the best, you know, whatever. Even though she knew like, damn, we're not like up there yet.
We're
you
not
know?
there yet, yeah.
But she would sell that to people, and then that's kind of like the faking it part. But y'all would still get the work done, and now you're to the point where we are the best. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So I think for me, the fake it till you make it thing wasn't really like a thing for me. It was always believe it before you make it. So I think that's what sticks to my head. Was always like believe it, you know, as much as you can, in order to be where you want. And so yeah, I mean, in the beginning, you know, we like I said, we did whatever we had to do in order to make it happen.
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah.
So how would you deal with how you said you didn't have control over quality, stuff like that? I'm pretty sure you had customers that were just like, nah, like it's not good, or this isn't what I was expecting. Or did you ever deal with that? Or
there's one client that really, like, it got to me. You know, some people in business, I mean, there's days that you celebrate your wins, right? And you're in such a high. You're like, oh my God, like nothing can stop me, right? And everything is flowing so well. But there's going to be days where things are just like hitting the fan. Things are not going the way that you want them to. And, you know, you got to celebrate those days too. And there was this one specific client that I did about 300 shirts for. Okay. And I was doing this in the garage. And this was like my first big job. And
manual screen print.
And you know, I the thing is that the garage didn't have any AC, so I'm over here, you know, it's just and so, yes, and it was in the summer. So think about it: you have the conveyor dryer on, and you have the flash unit. Now, if a lot of people don't know what that is, it's basically, you know, a machine that exposes a lot of heat. And it gets really hot. So you're in the summers. I mean, it's hitting some pretty high numbers, you know. And I'm over here just, you know, like I worked at night because, I mean, working through the day was not going to happen, right? So I'm working. I ended up finishing the order. And, you know, I'm like, oh my God, like 300 shirts. That's crazy. You know, it's like, it's an eye opener. It's like, oh my God, like it's a start, you know? And so I'm boxing up these shirts size by size. And I pack them up, and the next day, sure enough, they come in their company truck and they pull into my mom's gate, and they're getting the boxes in. And I'm like, okay, great, things are good. You know, I got paid, the order's out, and you know they look great. Okay, well that ends up happening. Get a call 2 days later, and they're like, hey Jerry, the logos are off the shirts when we washed them. And I was like, oh snap, that's 300 shirts. So the thing about, you know, the flash units and the conveyor dryers is that they have to be at a certain setting in order them for basically to cook, you know, for the ink to really stick onto to cure and stuff. And so if those settings are not correct and you're not checking, you know, those settings, they're not going to be cured right. And I'm sure that you guys have witnessed that as well. I don't know if you have.
On some of mine, and
where it cracks and stuff.
Where it cracks,
there's
and
cracking,
stuff.
There's peeling, there's
So then you start realizing there's actually a lot into it. It's not just, oh, I'm gonna print the shirt and call it a day. I mean, there is a lot that goes into it. Obviously, once you pick it up, you know, it's just like an everyday thing. But in the beginning, you don't know those things, right? No one's teaching you those things. And crazy enough, and I know you said, you know, have clients have, you know, done this and that, and have they gotten upset? Well, they called me in, and they told me, hey, Jerry, come to our office. We need to talk to you. So I go ahead and I sit down, and it's his wife and him. And they were like, hey, Jerry, well, you know, these shirts are given to us, and the logos are washed off. And they told me, they were like, we just want you to fix them. We just want you to fix them. And I was like, okay. So I went back to the drawing board and basically redid the order. But the good thing about it was that they were so lenient about it. They knew that I had just started. They knew where I was at. And they gave me another opportunity. And they were like, you know, basically redeem yourself and come back. Well, fast forward to a couple of years, you know, I still have them as clients to this day.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, and I'm talking about, like, I did an order for them yesterday, you know. So it's a really cool experience that they gave me the opportunity to do that because it kept me going.
So let me
Yeah.
ask you this: since you are, your sister really believes in the fake it till you make it, but you believe in yourself and make it happen, right?
Right.
So it's kind of different. But so oh snap! There's like little.
No
I saw a little fly thing.
It's good.
way.
Yeah.
So how did you land these clients? Did you feel like you had to, I guess, not fake it to them? You know, like you didn't go up to them selling them like, oh yeah, like I'm like the best, right? So how did you land them like as clients? Because that's a big order, and they knew where you started, right? So
Yeah. So, I mean, some did come from referrals. You know, most of them from the beginning did come from referrals. But when I did want the bigger clients, and when you say bigger clients, you know, you see these storefronts. I mean, there was one specific one, or even like the Aston Martin account. You're like, well, how did you get that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It really is about who you know. At the end of the day, I mean, the way that you socialize and you know you carry yourself, you start meeting people, you know, and so I had a good friend of mine that was just a friend that happens to work at Aston Martin as a marketing director, and you know I was able to get that account. But before I even knew him, I would drive up and down Old Katy Road, and you see the Range Rover dealerships, you see the Aston Martin, you're just like, man, how can I get in there? Because it seems like impossible, right? Because you're just like, you're starting off, right? But you know, as you evolve, as your you know your business is scaling and you're getting a little more experience, those like impossible like visions become like, oh, I can actually get to that point. I can get there. It's just a matter of time. But if you put it into your head, it's like, I'm gonna get it. I think manifesting is a big thing for me, and I would always tell myself like, it's gonna happen. Before I even had the account, before I was even, you know, my friend, well, Danny's like friend, I was telling myself like, I want to get in there.
That's crazy.
So yeah.
Damn. So, real quick about the Aston Martin thing.
Yeah.
Let's touch on the hats.
So check this out. This is actually pretty cool. So one of the things that we're kind of dealing with, and I'm sure a lot of other companies here are dealing with them, is a shortage.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard to get specific product. And, you know, a lot of people talk about like, you know, how COVID made this happen, or like, you know, like the recession, or just a bunch of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, it was an eye opener. It was an opportunity, because I saw that there was a shortage, but there was a demand for it. So I told myself, how can we, you know, talk to these suppliers? You know, how can we bring in our own product and make this happen? Because, you know, with the neon sign company, we're doing the same thing. I mean, we're talking to manufacturers, we're talking to suppliers overseas, and you know, we're bringing in these signs. Why is it that, you know, we're not having that trouble of you know, shortage, or they're not telling us like, yeah, there was delays in shipping and stuff like that. I understand that, but it wasn't like things couldn't get out of there, you know? So, man, one night, you know, I was tired of like saying no to my clients, because, you know, the popular hats that they wanted, they weren't in stock. And it was like that for months. And I even created like a bot. I don't know if you guys know what a bot is, but it's basically a software that you can create to basically do a task, and faster than a human. I mean, it's really fast, right? So I basically had someone make me a bot in order to even get hats, right, off of a website. And I told him, I was like, make me a bot and run it so I can even get access to these hats. And, you know, I created that, you know, and obviously like that didn't work out, because there was nothing. But they would say like sometimes in the mornings they would release, you know, stock that they did have, and it would go by quick. But even with the bot, I mean, that's how bad the shortage was. You just couldn't get product. So then that's when I was like, okay, I'm tired of this. Like, I need to bring in my own hats. So one night, I just ended up going and looking for a supplier overseas. And I would stay up, because obviously everybody knows, you know, when we're sleeping,
They're the ones working.
They're the ones working.
Yeah.
So
But let me cut you off really quick, just so we can go on a break, and then
because the cameras are about to stop.
You're good.
And we are back, and you were talking about your big project right now. So what is it? What do you got going on?
Yeah, so this is actually one of our styles, and it's the JF194, and I named this one after Jennifer. That's actually her year, 94. And the JF was our initials. Everybody in our family starts off with a J, so it's Jennifer, Joe, Jerry, and Jose. My mom was the only one with the C, which is Carolina, but JF is our initials, and so that's how I came up with the SKU. And this was actually our first client with our hats, which was a pretty big deal that we landed. Aston Martin. And the cool thing was that I actually gave them 3 hats. I gave them a Flex Fit, a Richardson, and I gave them a Franco hat. And I didn't, I just basically told them, I was like, here's the hats. Go ahead and, make the decision. See if you want to use our hats. If not, these are different types of qualities that you can pick from. And, crazy thing is they ended up going with our hat from the 3. And it had to go through 4 people in order to get the approval. And they chose it. They really liked the holes in the cap. It just made it look like a very sporty cap. The other thing is the quality. If you hold it, it's pretty heavy. But at the end of the day, it's a very nice structured hat. And we actually categorized this hat and named it the sports mode, which was going to be in the niche of like the car scenes and like the luxury cars. So, yeah.
That's pretty dope, though.
Yeah.
So, you guys are going to have different styles now?
Different styles.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, we're going to have to, like, depending on, like, like golfing, fishing, or, we'll have different types of styles.
Are you excited because you feel like it's something that you literally just, like, stepped on and now it's, like, is it, like, do you feel like it's, like, a whole different, like, business?
Of course. I do. I think that this is, like, the next step. So the thing about, like this whole like business adventure, yeah, it can definitely take off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we're doing, I mean, I don't know if you guys got to see the video.
Oh, yeah. So it was badass.
You sent it to her while she was on here.
Yeah. So I get really excited when I do things, right? And I just can't hold it. I'm just like, oh my God, like we just finished the video. And I mean, even stepping into making the video, I'll even say his name. Sonny is our videographer. And, I went in there and I actually had gotten a voice record, like what's it called? A voiceover.
A voiceover. Yeah.
I got a voiceover and a British voiceover so it can sound pretty cool, right? So I'm over here. I paid for the voiceover and I got it back and it just sounded too much like a robot. So I was like, okay, you know what? Sonny heard it. I heard it. And we're just like, okay, we're going to scratch that. So then Sonny grabs and he has this like little setup and stuff and it's really cool. He grabs the mic and he's like, I got this. And so he just started talking into the mic. And so the voice that you're hearing off that video was Sonny.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's like doing his thing and I'm seeing it come to life. And I'm like, whoa, that really just happened. And I was like, I was in shock. First of all, I know he's talented. I mean, the work that he puts out, and I tell everybody, I'm like, you just haven't been discovered. I was like, but just wait till we get you out there. And I was like, your talent is just on a whole different level. And I mean, the video speaks for itself. Yeah. So it was a really cool video that we got to put out for our first collab and being able to line with Aston Martin. But at the end of the day, not just did the video come out good, the quality, like the 3D puff. I mean, if you see 3D puff, it's really hard to do this type of work. 3D puff is not easy. So when we saw this and I saw the quality behind this, I was like, this is insane. I mean, the back lettering being this thin, everything just came out perfect. Like I couldn't be happier with the team. I couldn't be happier with the manufacturers, and I think it all just came together.
That's pretty badass.
I was honestly, really happy.
That's nice.
And even though we couldn't get supply, and I think that it was just taking advantage of the situation and the situation that we're in now. And I think that even when things are going and when things are getting hard and you just feel like things are not going right, with the shortage or whatever it may be, just really think about how you can find a way to make things happen. And I think that this right here really puts it in place and says that this can be a start.
That's nice. So, yeah. So that was you came up with the idea, right?
Yes, I did come up with the idea.
Yeah, because she made sure to say that, right?
Yeah, she's like, Jerry did come up with the idea. Like,
yeah, but like I said, I mean, I'm so happy that, even though the apparel businesses, we're not together. We still have so much love for each other. I mean, we both teach each other so much. And at the end of the day, that's my sister. And I love her and the things that she's been able to teach me. And I feel like, things worked out. But at the end of the day, we're back in business.
Yeah.
We're still doing something together. And I've always told myself, I mean, I don't care what type of business we're running. I always told myself when I started, I was like, there's no business that will lose my relationship with my sister, And, being able to do this with her and kind of get back into business with each other is really cool.
Yeah, because she said she sounded really excited, like, about getting back into business.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like I said, she holds a lot of value and a lot of structure, and she does certain things that I just don't have skill sets. And that's just the truth. I mean, there's duels. I mean, look at you guys, like Rollie might be good at this and you might be good at this, but that's why you guys make things happen, because you're with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what we were talking about with her too, right? Because she was like, basically, like, you come up with the ideas, and it's the same thing, like, with Roland, and it's just, like, planning things out. It's, like, where, like, it helps too.
Yeah. Honestly, so, like, would you say that now you're enjoying the fruits of your labor? Like,
what do you mean by that?
Like, you built this business and you've worked hard all these years and everything, and now you're enjoying, like, buying your luxuries or whatever you just want to enjoy. Because she mentioned how you bought, like, you guys bought the boat for your dad and stuff like that.
Oh, that was a big one. That was a cool one. I think that was like one of the best, like, moments of my life. Yeah. My dad's always been a very hard worker in the oil and gas company, and I actually, in going back to manifesting and stuff, me and my dad, we love fishing. I mean, from a kid, my dad's always taking me, even after coming out of work, and I mean, they're wearing overalls. If you know one thing about oil and gas, they have to wear FR, which is fire resistant material, in order to keep them safe. Mm-hmm. And even with hot temperatures or whatever it was, the case may be, he would always make it an effort to be like, you know what, I might be tired, but I told you we were going to go fishing. So let's get the things ready and let's go. And he would never fail. It was always, let's do it. So, man, I was like, man, I bought a boat and offer up, and it was like a little small boat, man. It was like just super, super small. It could fit, like, it was only supposed to be for, like, literally like one or two people. Mm-hmm. And I bought a little battery and I bought a trolling motor, and we went out in the water, and we would do so well. We would fish, and we would catch some really good fish. So I was like, okay, I'm actually enjoying this, And I feel like those things just brought me and my dad together a lot. Mm-hmm. I feel like we had a lot of time to spend together, and it was always a great time. I mean, especially because we got to fish and we were actually, catching things. It was cool. So one day I went to Bass Pro Shops, and I saw this boat, and I was like, whoa, like, I was like 15 years old, I was like 15, and I'm looking at this boat, and it's like the price tag, you're like, oh snap, like, how can I afford that, right? But crazy thing is, fast forward, I told my sister, I'm like, okay, I think it's time to buy that boat. And me, my sister and my brother and I, we came up with the idea of, like, it's my dad's birthday, let's go ahead and buy him the boat. And me and Jennifer, we went to go get it, and we brought it to him, and we put him on a blindfold, and he's walking towards the boat, and so many things are running through my head, and who would know that we would be in this position, especially me being this young, being able to do this for my dad. And took that blindfold off, and my dad is a very strong individual. He really doesn't show his emotion. But that day, man, I really felt it. I was like, oh snap, like, this really touched him. And he got to sit on that seat, and I looked at him, and I was like, man, that really just happened. And he was having a blast, man. A smile, he's having a great time, and so that was a big moment. That was a big moment.
Really nice.
Right? Like,
literally, you're saying it, and I feel like I'm picturing it.
Yeah,
in my
I feel like
head.
I've pictured the whole thing. But,
yeah.
Damn, that is crazy, man. So it's like, oh, I don't even know what to say to that, because it's like I want to do the same for my dad one day. You know what I mean?
For
like
sure.
Stuff like that. Because I did ask Jennifer about it, like if your dad was a labor worker, stuff like that. So because she's like, oh, he wouldn't want to retire from that either, because he's just a hardworking man, like, like, and I feel like my dad's like that too. I feel like Hispanic, like, dads are just hardworking. They don't think about retirement. Like,
Yeah, most definitely. And I think I'm gonna touch on that. So one thing I've always noticed about my dad, even when I was a kid, think about it like this: my dad goes to work like if tomorrow's his last day. I mean, it was literally like, I'm the provider. I'm gonna work extremely hard for you guys, and whatever you guys need, I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna make things happen for you guys. So that always stuck by me, man. I was like, man, my dad works a lot for us, like, coming from Mexico, my mom, it really opened my eyes, and I told myself, like, if they did this for us, like, and being able to see that, I'm so grateful for that, because it really raised the bar. I mean, there's things that Joe did, which is my older brother, Jennifer did, that raised the bar. But when it came down to my dad's work ethic, I think it really opened all of our eyes. It was like, you can do anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, my dad came from nothing, and risked it all for us. And I was like, why aren't we doing the same? Why aren't we working as hard? Why aren't we making things happen? If he can do it without school, without knowing the language, what makes you think that we can't do it? And we're so spoiled to have things on our like tips of our fingers. If you want to learn something, you have YouTube nowadays. You have the internet. It's really just you telling yourself that, you don't want to do it. So that work ethic told myself, like, I can do anything. So having my parents was a big role model, for sure.
Is that who well, they're your role models, right? That's who, like,
for sure,
inspire you to do.
Most definitely, 100%.
Yeah. That's like your drive, you know what I mean? Like,
most definitely. And I mean, the thing is, like I told you guys, when I didn't want to go to college, right? They were a big support system. They said, whatever we got to do, we got to help you, whatever it is, like, we're here for you. But it was just more the encouraging words. Even if it wasn't like capital or whatever it was really just telling me that, hey, you believe in me, and you say, like, whatever you put your mind to, that you're going to do it because you've seen it previously, gave me the drive to say, man, like, I'm unstoppable. Like, I have the right people around me. And I think that those voices that were coming in and were telling me to just go for it.
So what would you tell somebody that's like literally out of high school and not wanting to go to college?
Just be honest with yourself. I told myself, why am I going to waste my time? Unless you know your path, unless you're going to tell yourself, this is my plan, and you really got to plan it out, really tell yourself, am I going to stick to that, or am I not going to do it? And if you're not going to do it, then make sure you know what you're going to get yourself into, and really dedicate the time and consistency. And I think that word right there, consistency, is the most important thing. Is you got to do it, and you got to keep every day at it, every single day.
So what's your schedule like for somebody that has to wake up and run like all these businesses?
Well, I get up at around 7 in the morning. By 7 in the morning, I'm the first one in and I'm the last one out. So I go in at 9 a.m. and I leave at 6 p.m. every day. And I'm still doing that, to this day. Yeah. So
you have your other businesses there too?
Yeah. So I mean, most of them are online businesses. When it comes down to like the neon sign company, we run that, through there too. But the thing about the neon signs, we don't see the product. I don't know if you guys have heard of drop shipping.
Yeah.
Right. So we're just a marketing. We're a marketing company that,
Yeah, that's the drop shipping for
that.
Right?
That just happens to be selling neon signs.
Yeah.
So that's like the main thing. It's like we get the leads, we do all these marketing campaigns or whatever the case may be. We run these ads and we get in the client and we send the order out and that order comes in.
So
well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, which of the businesses, like, do you see the most profit out of? Would you say?
When you say that, do you say it like as per order, or do you see it like as a whole?
Like as a whole, I guess. Like, let's say in a month's worth, like, would you say like you made more through signs or through apparel?
So, brand exposure does bring the most money. That's the one that's been alive a lot longer, and of course has clientele residual that's coming in. Weekly basis, I'm getting the same customers back and back and back again. Mm-hmm. However, the neon signs are the most profitable.
Okay.
For
Because it's drop shipping. Because you're
well,
not.
there's a lot of things that are that come into play, right? The overhead. there's no much overhead. Your investments were made through the website, and I have a lot of virtual assistants. And what do I mean by virtual assistants is I have people that are answering the calls, people that are taking care of the emails, the tracking. I mean, whatever the case may be, I hire other people to do those things.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's way more profitable.
And then
For what you do, right?
Of course. I mean, because here you have employees, you have machinery, you have, the storefront, that is the rent, and so many other things that come into play that, that take from the profits.
For the drop shipping business, which would be your sign one, your neon sign,
Right.
did you have to start with a lot of capital, or did you just had to find somebody that was good?
I think...
Or it depends.
No. I'm just trying to think. So yes, there is a little bit of money that has to be spent, but there's more research than anything. Okay. You definitely do have to go through. You have to do your homework. You have to go find these suppliers, right? And you have to really see how they have their business structured, meaning their lead times. Are they meeting their times? Are they meeting their due dates? Are they executing every order? Are they taking care of you like they took care of you the first time? So there's a lot of things that go into play, and there's a lot of money that had to be, put up front to find the right manufacturer, because the quality does change. Also another thing is, how long is that sign going to last for? You got to do a lot of testing. So you have to be buying, neon signs, bring them in and go into testing. Luckily, we were when I started off, I had a partner, and he was taking care of all of that. He was doing all of that. But you find the right supplier, and it's go time.
Yeah. So I have it's not a theory. I don't know what to call it, but you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
That in your situation, like neon signs are more like a product that people buy as I guess I'm gonna call it a luxury. Like they don't need it, but they want it because it's cool. Yet, like brand exposure and getting clothes made and everything is more of like a
necessity.
Yeah, a solution to a problem.
Right.
So, I feel like, do you think that like brand exposure type of businesses are gonna do way better than neon signs?
Than a luxury business.
Than a luxury business.
Luxury business or problem solving.
At the end of the day, I think that any business that you put your attention to will make you the most money. I think when you tell yourself, hey, I want to make this amount of money per month, if it might be, 30, 60,000, whatever the case may be, right? Mm-hmm. That's where it's going to come from. When you tell your mind that that's what you want. Of course, you have your clientele, but unless you're focusing on those things and you're telling yourself that you want that, then that's when you'll get it. And I say that because, you can be running the whole apparel company, but if you're not putting attention to it, you're not gonna be making that, regardless if it's an essential or if it's a luxury. At the end of the day, you really got to tell yourself and focus on that, and tell yourself that I need to bring in that.
Yeah, because I was talking to Evelyn about it a few days. I don't know, yesterday, a few days ago, how the businesses that I have aren't essential businesses. Like, it's just if people want it, they'll look for it or decide to buy, like either the brand, a rug, any design. Like, I feel like the design part, logos and all that stuff, could be like essential, but it really narrows it down to a bunch of just people who want to start a business or whatever. But it's never like oh, it's, how like a barber is like they need a haircut every week, like right. Stuff like that. I don't have a business like that.
So to touch on that, right? Mm-hmm. When I started the neon sign company, I definitely understand where you're coming from. But you got to ask yourself, right? Who needs that? So for me, I had to ask myself, who's going to come back to me frequently, right? Mm-hmm. So think about it. Contractors, right? People that are doing these build outs. Who are they selling to, right? They're selling to people that are making restaurants, storefronts, or whatever the case may be. So if you can get into one contractor, right, that's doing all these build outs for these, retail shops, restaurants, they're going to be the ones selling directly to the customer. And now they're going to come to you to buy these signs from you. So it's a frequent thing. Like, you're going to see that consistently with just one contractor. Mm-hmm. If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, you're their supplier.
I'm their supplier. So you got to think about it with the rugs. How can you do that? You know, how can you get into that where, and it's kind of hard, but when you think about it, it's there. You just have to figure it out. And for me, with the neon signs, I was like, man, how can I get someone to come to me more often? Because you make one sale and it's like, okay, you made that one sale and that person has your sign. Now what? Right? Now you got to find another one. But I like to find something that keeps me consistent. And for me, it was the contractors doing these like build outs.
Yeah, it's kind of like because my dad, he's a commercial residential painter. So I feel like if he ever had like a realtor client, then that's like I feel like that's already kind of like business that's gonna come, because they're just gonna find houses, or if they have new construction, then that's already like an opening for my dad to go in there and do work, you know. So I feel like if you find those clients that just happen to bring you more business, then it's good to keep those around. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, man, I think that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Pretty good mentality to have, because I feel like I'm not that I'm at a stopping point or anything, but I was like, I feel like I have to work super hard to be able to find people who want to take part in my business or whatever. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you this: what's your biggest thing right now that you're doing? What business is like the one that's like doing the best for you?
Like it used to be the design. Well, it's in between the design and the rugs. But now it's kind of like moving towards the rugs a little bit, because I was able to build the Instagram page up.
I was gonna say, but since you relaunched Superior did really good.
Yeah, Superior's been doing pretty good too.
Yeah, I feel like as a brand, right? Since he relaunched it again this year, and focused more on it and like marketed, it did really good. I think it's done the best it's ever done.
Yeah, but then again, since it's a brand, I feel like I have to reinvest that money. So it's like it's just building itself up right now, you know. So I don't really look at it as a income source, or I don't know if that's what you're asking, but I don't look at it as an income source or anything. I don't take anything from that.
Yeah, but it is always it just rotates between the design and the rugs. Yeah,
Got it.
Especially since design, I don't have to spend money like.
He has everything.
Yeah, I have everything. So if anything, like once the money comes in, then I can use that to pay bills or whatever the fuck, you know, like so it's either one of those. Yeah.
Got it.
So how old are you?
I'm 24.
Yeah.
You're 24. Because
It's
I'm
like,
pretty sure
how old
people
is
are
I?
gonna 24.
24.
No, he's 22. He just
I don't
turned
know.
21 last year.
What was that? I'm sorry.
He's 22.
My
No, I'm
brother.
saying his
your
brother.
brother.
Yeah, my
he's
brother.
22.
Man, I forgot, man. He told me he's like, oh, I have a box of shirts that I'm gonna give to Jerry. Because we dropped off we were supposed to drop my son off at my mom's, and then when I dropped them off, I was supposed to bring the shirts and then give them to you, but
They picked them up.
they picked them up, so I don't even have the shirts with me.
Oh, it's
But-
okay. It's okay.
So where can they find you, reach you, if for your businesses?
So either you can do the website or Instagram. It's called Brand Exposure. And yeah, pretty much it.
And then his other businesses, do you have Instagram for the other business?
I do. So like, the electric neon signs is on Instagram, so you can check us out on there if you want a custom neon sign. And then Dog Watch, I mean, it's still being developed. I mean, when it comes down to engineering a product, there's a lot to it. I mean, the way that it started and where we're at now is a huge like improvement, and I can't have done it without my team, Jonathan, Ivan. I mean, they really made things happen, but we're really, really far into it now, and things are really starting to look promising. I mean, today we did some testing, and I think that right there is the hardest thing. We were just kind of getting the testing going, because you don't want to put a product out and it's not at 100%.
So that's a business that's still in the process.
Still in the process, but I mean, it's
coming.
It is coming, and it is coming really hard. I mean, like I said, the team that I have, the individuals that are working on the project are, they have their businesses on their own, and I mean, they know what it takes, and I know that they're gonna make it happen. And as a team, we're gonna bring this product out.
Nice.
Yeah.
So everything, all his socials and everything is gonna be in the description below. Make sure you guys follow our TikTok, follow Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yo, that ass. We just reached 300
Nice.
subs, so that's pretty dope.
Nice.
But other than that, thank you, Jerry,
for coming.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And thank y'all for watching.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.